Everybody Hates Rand is a Wheel of Time podcast that will contain spoilers for all 14 books. So if you're anti-spoiler, stop this, read all 14 books, and come back. We'll be here, waiting.
Our title is a joke and is meant to be taken as such. Everybody in this context refers to us and our cats. You are free to feel however you want about Rand. He's a fictional character. Please don't DM us.
The world is a mess, Dark One stretching out his hand. The dragon's reborn, the fire's been fanned, but everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand.
Why can I not eat a single thing without getting on my clothes?
Oh, I know. I've got something on these jeans, too.
I'm like a
I was
toddler.
like, hello? Ma'am?
Yeah,
Ma'am being me?
Ma'am, girl. Girl, wash your
friend.
face. Oh, you guys. Well, here we are. Hey, it's Everybody Hates Rand, your friendly neighborhood Wheel of Time podcast. I'm Emily Jushaw.
And I'm Sally Gidger.
And it's begun.
Yeah, or something.
Something has begun.
These chapters were so confusing.
Yeah.
Everyone had led me to believe that Verin's reveal that she was Black Aja was like a galactic level slay. And I was like, this is continental at best. I found it, like, it's obviously very cool. Maybe it's because I already knew. I don't know.
Yeah, I did spoil it for you, but I too was disappointed reading this and being like, it's pretty annoying that Verin is like, I have an hour to reveal my secrets to you, and then they have a conversation that lasts maximum 10 minutes.
I know, was Verin in there like, oh, this tea just looks so tasty. I guess I'll
better
drink the
just
poison
drink the
before
poison
Egg gets
early.
here.
It was very weird, and I get that it's like, if you were... Okay, I mean, listen. We record a conversation that lasts approximately 45 minutes every week, and the transcripts for those are, like, double digits pages.
Yeah.
So accurately portraying an hour-long conversation is
Not
somewhat
possible,
ridiculous.
Sure.
But it is, like, not even an attempt to be.
Yeah, it isn't even like... And then Verin explained her cipher to me over the next...
20
minutes, or like we talked about this, or some sort of like sleight of, you know, like Egg knows a bunch of stuff we don't that Verin told her, or anything like that.
Yeah, it's just like we have the exact 10-minute conversation and then that's it. We're not even given a very good... I was thinking after last week or the week before that, whenever we talked about Verin's letter that she left with Matt, I was like, maybe Verin gives like a good reason for why she doesn't, you know, why her plan doesn't work through. But it turns out her entire plan was go to the White Tower, get the Oath Rod, see if she can undo being Black Aja, and then, okay, it's okay.
Yeah, that plan doesn't... She's like, I don't even know if I could do it. So I'm like, at least do something to try. But then she's immediately like, and the Oath Rod was gone. So my next plan was
to kill myself. And I'm like, Egg could have told you where it was, given 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I know that's supposed to be, like, tragic or whatever.
It doesn't read as tragic, though. It reads as stupid.
Yeah, it's like Verin is supposed to be one of our most clever characters. Like, she didn't exercise any additional thought into figuring out how she could get the Oath Rod.
Yeah, she wasn't like, seems like it's missing. What's going on that's weird in the tower?
Mainly Egg.
Yeah, or even if she was just like, I'm back, bitches, and did some, like, undercover work for a week, she has at least 30 days before Matt opens her letter.
Yeah.
Which I guess the reason he's not allowed to open her letter is because she's only allowed to reveal her secrets in the, quote, hour of her death, unquote. But it's just...
Yeah, I also found that loophole less...
compelling
than I want it to be. Like, she did a good job figuring it out, but it's also, like... Verin herself points out the huge plot hole in this, which is, like, why would the oaths be constructed that way if the Dark One's supposed to be this, like, intelligent, intimidating force?
Yeah, and the, like, whole reasoning that they've come up with, which ties to their analysis of the Forsaken, is that, well, every evil person is too selfish and also very stupid to ever exploit that loophole. And I'm just like, do you guys know how much you've just, like, granted we've had 11 books of it so far, but you have just, like, decimated the threat level of all of your bad guys.
I know. Like, it is on one hand really funny when Verin's like, the Forsaken are just a bunch of squabbling toddlers, you know,
Yeah.
and that's kind of their whole purpose.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, that isn't very, like, intimidating for the Dark One to purposefully pick his most powerful followers based on who is the most selfish and who is constantly going to be trying to get a leg up on the other one. Like,
Yeah.
it's, like, my issue with that is, like, everyone keeps saying, you know, like, let the Lord of Chaos rule, and the Dark One is presented in very contradictory ways. Like, is it a force of chaos, specifically a sort of, like, chaos itself against the structure and the integrity of the universe, or is it an evil force, which is different than just being a simply chaotic force? Like, evil has intentionality to it, you know? And I never know. It seems like it's mainly just chaos, because everyone who is bad in this series is completely incompetent, rather than having any sort of, like, intelligence or intentionality.
Yeah, like, the best we can say about the Dark One is that, yeah, it is pretty chaotic in here.
Yeah.
But, like, in terms of actually successful evil plans,
Yeah.
it's sort of like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Sure. And, like, if that's your whole plan, dude, that's fine. But I have always had the assumption that, I know Rand keeps saying, like, if the Dark One wins, there will be no more universe. Like, it'll just be destroyed or whatever. So, like, maybe his whole vibe is just, like, haha, I'm gonna blow it up because I can. But I don't know. He's always been they have always been presented more scared. I don't know. Maybe I just am off today and don't find the idea of the universe being driven apart by chaos as scary as, but I'm not eating weevils or whatever. So
No, I think even just the speculation of the characters being like, why would the Dark One do this? Why would the Dark One do that? Sort of, like, lessens his power. Because one thing that is pretty, like, well done about these books is that the Dark One as a presence is really, like, good, scary good in the first few books.
sure.
And you can pretty much track this along the same path as when the Forsaken start to become less scary. Mm-hmm. As soon as you're like, these are his top dogs, and they're all a bunch of idiots, you're like, ooh. And what this section reads like is almost like Brandon Sanderson kind of being like, trying to make excuses for Robert Jordan writing a bunch of the biggest idiots on the planet and being like, they're scary. And Brandon was like, they're not though, so
I'm gonna
I'll just
make that
have
intentional.
to kind of nerf the Dark One.
Yeah.
Yeah, by making it seem like it's his evil plan all along. And we're like, whether it's his evil plan or just, regardless, it's stupid.
Yeah, like, it just, I don't know. I guess I'm just struggling with the idea that, like, this argument that the Dark One's, the most important thing he can find in his followers is selfishness, I think presents evil itself as selfishness rather than, like, any number of other qualities we could put under the umbrella of evil, like the desire to hurt other people, for instance. And I think there's, on one hand, it's a compelling argument, like, under selfishness falls so many things, including the willingness to hurt other people, but it felt strange to me. I was like, I don't know, like, your big bad is just selfish, like, he doesn't have any master plan for the universe.
I find it just very, like, childish. And maybe I'm just saying that because selfishness is kind of parallel to childishness.
Sure.
But I know plenty of selfish people who I wouldn't classify as evil.
Yeah.
Annoying at best.
Sure.
In fact, most people are some degree of selfish.
It's a biological mechanism in many ways.
Yes. And, like, being, like, the height of evil is selfishness is just, like, a little bit ridiculous. Like, because it almost puts some, like, ignorance in there as well. Like, selfishness doesn't really care about other people, obviously. Like,
sure.
That's the whole thing. But true evil is knowing what is happening to other people and choosing.
Yeah, to keep going with it or ignore it or continue it or...
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, we don't need to, like, wax poetic about the nature of good and evil.
Sure, I'm not
on
qualified.
this podcast, and I'm not particularly interested. Like,
Sure.
it's just what I consider to be sort of a silly thought exercise. And I guess, I think the series works better when it doesn't
Yeah, when it's playing on the archetypical level of, like, it's evil.
Yeah, and isn't trying to be like, and here's what evil is defined as. But Brandon Sanderson kind of can't stop himself because he's such a philosophy guy.
Yeah.
Which can work pretty well in some of his other books. He uses philosophy and, like, sort of the mechanisms of theology and magic systems and blah, 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 blah to make some compelling narratives in his other books. But it doesn't work when he's trying to now transpose that onto a book that wasn't using that same mechanism as its foundation.
Yeah.
Anyway, Egwene wastes the entire, like, first 2 pages of this conversation with Verin, or rather, Verin wastes it. They both waste it, with just Verin not being like, okay, so, number 1, I might be Black Aja, but I did it because I
was playing double agent.
I was doing I'm a double agent, you know?
Yeah.
We just have to have this whole, like song and dance where Verin's, like, trying to have a little normal, casual chat with Egg, and Egg the entire time is like, do I jump out the window?
Yeah.
What are my options here? I gotta run. And it's when Egg finally stops thinking along those lines, it's not because Verin does anything particularly, like, compelling to earn her trust. It's just sort of because she's, like, run out of steam.
Yeah, Egg's like, well, this might as well happen.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Verin is like, so I became a Darkfriend because I was sort of like, I sort of stumbled into it. Like, I was researching them in an attempt, like, I made myself seem like a...
Yeah.
This is sort of subtext, but it sounds like Verin made herself seem like a would-be Black Aja member in order to kind of, like, go undercover, and then went way undercover when she realized she had to, like, give some oaths.
Yeah.
And just decided to go along with that. Probably the most interesting part about the whole thing is that Verin's Verin's warder, Tomas, is also a Darkfriend.
Yeah.
And that he just wanted out.
Yeah.
Which is the most compelling narrative we've gotten for a Darkfriend thus far.
Yeah.
Like, speaking of not really giving evil many facets, most of the Darkfriends we've met are cartoonishly evil.
Yeah.
And so to have someone like Tomas, who maybe, like, had a weird phase or something.
Yeah, or just, like...
People do stupid shit.
People do stupid shit, and people change, you know? I think it's
Yeah.
very compelling to think of someone who is, like, I'm absolutely willing to engage in quote-unquote evil, and then being like, you know what, actually I'm not.
I'm not anymore, and there's not really a way for me to back out, so I'm going to get bonded to this lady who also...
Yeah, who's on a sort of kamikaze mission
Yeah.
into the Black Aja itself.
Yeah, pretty funny.
Yeah, Tomas, you were RIP to a real one. The only ward I've really cared about so far.
Yeah, salute.
Who can say?
So, RIP Tomas. Meanwhile, Verin gives Egg these books. One of them is, like, the key to the code, and the other one is the coded book, and it is just, like, names.
Yeah, Verin's like, this is all my research about the Black Aja, and in the back, immediately, Egg is like, I just need to know the names. And this was like, I understand if you're like, what if these books get taken away from me? The most important thing I need to know is, like, the names of who's in the Black Aja. But I was like, bestie, you're not gonna read... There's, like, at one point she's like, there's a footnote explaining something, but I don't have time for that.
But I don't care about that.
I was like...
Yeah, she's like... And I'm like, this is Verin's PhD we're talking about.
And also, like, what if there was vital information in there and you were just like, I don't have time for it?
I know,
but also, wild. Verin constructs this extremely complicated cipher, and it's so, like... I would be so intimidated if someone came up to me with, like, a ciphered piece of writing. Like, my understanding of ciphers is that they're very complicated, and, like, on, like, even the simplest ones get really complicated. And I just feel like Verin's taking a huge jump, being like, Egg can absolutely decode this.
Yeah, she's the Amerlin seat. Duh.
Sorry.
Of course she can do, literally everything.
Oh, I was reading it and I was like, this would stress me the fuck out if someone's like, here are all the names of the biggest bads in your little society and you have to decode it. I was like, fuck, what if I can't?
Yeah, I'd be like,
and the only person who could just died.
Don't die yet.
In
you
my
have
bed.
To tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
It's also a little ludicrous considering Verin also has a magic bookmark that makes the books invisible. So it's
like, why are they
maybe a little overcautious?
Fort Knox up in here.
Yeah. Also, like, in your weeks of waiting for Macathon in the town, couldn't you have found some time to just, like, write things in plain English?
Yeah, been like, here's a letter egg that has everybody's name.
Yeah.
Burn upon reading.
I mean, you wrote letters to everyone else, so...
But Egg is smart girl, TM.
Yeah, we have to remember that Egg is good at everything. Anyway, Verin dies on Egg's bed.
Dies, and then Egg leaves her corpse there for the better part of 12 hours.
Oh, we stumble into some racial insensitivity when, Verin's like, my soul might be black, but...
Oh my god.
Or everyone might call me black, but my soul was brown. And obviously, this book is like black Aja equals evil.
Yeah.
But the problem is that they have a white Aja, and the white Aja isn't, like, good.
Good, yeah.
So there's, like, these weird false dichotomies going on here, and Egg is like, don't worry, Verin, your soul is pure white. And I was like, ugh. It's like the light itself, and I'm like, oh.
Let's stop color coding
Yeah,
good and
let's just
evil.
stop color coding good and evil. Why don't we? Seems like a great idea for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, Egg is just sort of locked in this room, decoding Verin's books. She's being standing guard, like one lady is standing guard over her, and pokes her head in at one point, and Egg pretends that Verin's asleep.
She's like, isn't it weird that Verin came and slept in my
room
bed?
and just went to sleep? And this lady's like, yeah, I'm the biggest idiot that's ever...
I don't see anything wrong with this weird Goldilocks situation.
I'm a woman in Robert Jordan world, so I've never put two logical thoughts together in my life. At some point, Nicola comes in with, like, a secret message for Egg hidden in the soup, and the secret message is just, like, sit tight.
Was the only way they could think to get a message to Egg to write a tiny little note, roll it up in a tiny little
vial, put it in the soup.
At this point, too, we learn that the tower has not deposed Elayne, or we learn this eventually.
Madani comes in after Nicola. That's who Egg has been told to wait for. Yeah, Madani's like, Elayne's still in power, but it took some, like, negotiation, and she got formally censured.
Yeah.
And she has to do penance. What's her name? Sylviana is fine, but she also has to do some, like, penance and whatnot. Egg's like, well, this is Verin's dead body. Will you dispose of it?
And Madani's like, what?
Madani's like, okay.
Excuse me?
Egg, in her, like, little decoding phase, just was, like, telling us all of the names immediately of people who pretty much we already knew were all Black Aja, so there aren't very many surprises.
Yeah.
And, like, the surprises are people who are kind of irrelevant to us, like some lady named Moira.
Yeah, who Egg's like, I really liked her.
Yeah, and it's like, she's a familiar name from inside the Salidar Aes Sedai, but there are so many Aes Sedai that when Egg just lists them all, it's just like, fuck, everyone's Black Aja.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
Egg's like, good news though, Nynaeve and Elayne aren't dark friends.
How incredibly iconic of Robert Jordan to be like, at this moment, I'm revealing that Elayne Turcan has been a deep state missile.
Man, it would have been iconic. That would have been serious, like, galactic level slay from Verin. To be like, big news, Elayne Turcan is a dark friend. I would have been like, yo, it would have made no sense,
but it would have been so good. Iconic. Yeah, you're right. That would have been the galactic level
because
slay.
then she would have, like, been a big bad that we had to kill, and then we could have killed her.
Yeah, and then Rand's like, my wife.
My wife. I know. Then he actually has to kill one of his wives.
Loose the Ren style,
Loose
baby.
the Ren style, but she's evil, so...
The wheel of time turns.
Don't worry, man. You still got 2 wives.
You still got 2 wives.
You're 2 for 3.
Yeah. Ugh. So anyway...
It was stupid, but yeah, it's like, Alvierin's bad, and so is fucking Shiriam and Moira and Katarine and every other lesbian.
Yeah.
Turns out they're evil. What a surprise.
Verin also tells Egg that Masana is in the tower, but very annoyingly was like, I couldn't figure out who she's posing as. I'm like, then what's the...
Well then, for the love of fuck. Because Masana has to still be a bad guy in the next book. For reasons that are stupid. Anyway, after sending Midani off with Verin's corpse, Egg goes to bed on her Verin's literal deathbed.
She's like, I'm just trying not to think about it. I was like, bestie,
how could you not think about it?
I would burn that bed. Like, not to get in the whole, like, I know, like, dead bodies aren't necessarily, like, you know, bad, but at some point it's like...
Dead bodies are not bad. There's nothing like, we have a culture, especially Western culture, that is, like, afraid of bodies and death, and it's like, you all should read, Caitlin Dowdy's a book. She's Ask a Mortician on YouTube, and she has a few books that are really good if you want to, like, learn about death practices in different cultures around the world and sort of, like, demystify the whole process of death. But, like, yeah, it's obviously not bad, but I'm more caught up on, like, the biological reality that Verin's body has been in this bed for multiple hours, it seems like.
Yeah.
And, like, things happen to bodies immediately after dying that aren't particularly pleasant.
Yeah, like, gross, potentially.
Yeah.
And also just, like, to me, I was like, it just feels really disrespectful to just be like, weird. Now I have to go to sleep. Something I could just do on the floor.
Yeah.
After this woman who risked a lot and literally died to bring me information.
It's so wild.
It is very funny of though to Verin be like, I'm just gonna die on your bed real
so
quick.
I know, she's just like, I don't give a fuck. I've got 5 minutes to live.
I'm gonna get comfy.
So yeah, might as well. Yeah, she's not like, I'll just die in this chair, I guess. Make it as easy for you as possible. I mean, thank God she did get in the bed. It's not like Egg would have been able to be like, she's been asleep in this chair for 6 hours.
Yeah, Verin's just going into full rigor mortis.
Very Weekend at Bernie's. Egg has to put some sunglasses on.
Weekend at Verin's.
Christ.
The idea of Maidani being... Egg is also like, just take her body away. And I'm like, where does she... Maidani asks the very reasonable question, what do I do with it? Where do I take it? And Egg's like, can't you do anything for yourself?
For the love of God, Maidani, think for yourself. Maidani's like... We don't have a fucking crematorium in the basement of the White Tower.
I apologize for not being a mortician.
Like, for the love, people have to take care of... This is people's job.
Oh, it was so
not like
funny.
my job, which is slut.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, my whole job is to just be like a little honey trap.
A failed honey trap.
Yeah, I'm not even good at my real job. What do you expect me to do?
But God, I have a great rack.
Yeah, Brandon did not fail to remind us that Maidani's got great tits.
Yeah,
so
don't worry. Then Egg goes to sleep. Egg goes to Teleron Riyadh. And is like, Swan, big news. Shiriam's a Darkfriend, so's Moira. You gotta, like, keep a watch on them. And Swan's like, Worm? That's pretty big news. And Egg's like, yeah, tons of stuff is going down. Swan's like, well, are you still a captive? And Egg's like, oh, well, it's complicated. But before she can get any farther, she gets pulled out of Teleron Riyadh. Nicola is shaking her awake, and, like, the tower is now being attacked and is, like, shaking.
Yeah.
So, very big, violent attack.
Yeah.
And Egg tells us that, she's like, oh, man, this is bad because we're being attacked and I can't channel at all because of the fork root. Which, just, like, this could totally have been an easy fix. But it really annoys me that, like, she has had this fork root in her system for, it seems like 6 hours.
Yeah.
And now is like, I can only channel a little bit, when in our experience, it's like, people who get dosed with enough fork root to pass out, a la Nynaeve and Elayne when they were first exposed to it, like, they started working through it within a few hours.
Yeah.
So, it seems someone should have just come in and, you know, given her more fork root or something, but
yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah, it also just, like, it doesn't need to happen. Like, the whole point, like, I know it made sense in the moment, but again, like, it could have been resolved before this happened in order for Egg to just be able to fight. Like, I don't really know why the next chapter, like, when we get back to the tower, Egg's, like, teaching the novices how to link, and she goes into the Terangriel storeroom and gets some big fucking literal magic wand, and it's like, what? Egg is already, like, a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, I don't know what the point is, except that they were, like, trying to add higher stakes to it.
I guess.
But it's like, we've seen Egg captured before, you know, when she was fully capable of given she was less well-trained, but, like, it's just silly. Yeah, we're just gonna, like, nerf our main character so that it is even cooler, quote, when she comes out wielding her magic wand at the head of her army of novices. A bunch of 13-year-old girls.
She's got a bunch of 13-year-old girls in white dresses. Lest we forget.
My virgin procession. Stupid.
But first we have to talk to Gareth Brand.
Guys, it's so bad.
It's so gross.
Swan wakes up and is like, oh shit, I gotta go get Egg. She's in danger, and Gareth Bryn's like, okay, what kind of danger? And they leave the tent and find out that the White Tower is being attacked. Swan's like, it must be the Shanshin, since Egg had this whole prophecy about it. And Bryn's like, oh, well, that's bad. And Swan's like, well, let's go rescue her. And Gareth Bryn's like, you promised that you wouldn't do that. And Swan's like, I don't give a shit. And Gareth Bryn is like, I give a shit. Because I care a lot about promises for some reason, and I don't like that you are so casually breaking a second one. And I'm like, this is the stupidest thing for these two people to be arguing about right now.
Like, Swan also points out at one point, she's like, I promised I wouldn't do it unless Egg was in danger, and I believe she's in danger. And Gareth, like, doesn't let the point go.
Yeah.
But it's fine because it ultimately works out with him being like, she's like, well, if you won't help me, I'll go get the stupid little rat bastard who will. And Gawain's like,
I'm on it. On it, boss.
On it, boss.
Yes, chef.
Salute.
I'll do anything to feel like a knight in shining armor.
And Gareth's like, fine, I'll go with you, but I have 2 conditions.
One, you have to bun me as your warder. Twirls his hair. Beard hair.
His little goatee.
And Swan's like, gladly. And she's like, what's the second condition? And Bryn doesn't tell us, but I assume it's we fuck later or something.
We get married, probably, because he's a proper Christian man. Doesn't believe in extramarital sex.
Yeah, he's a southern gentleman or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
He's an English gentleman, excuse you?
Yeah, I guess he's from Andor, I forgot.
Where would the American South apparently is Shanshin, so...
I don't know, because it's like the accents are the American South, but so much of the culture of Andor are right. Most like home-coded territory is very clearly coded as the South, because Robert Jordan is Southern.
You're right, so Bryn is the horrible combo of English and Southern.
So, like Thomas Jefferson. Yeah. Yikes.
Anyway, I hate him, and Swan's like, it better not be anything inappropriate.
But she's, like, flirty about it, and Gareth Bryn's like, ooh, I can read your thoughts now, so I know you're being flirty about it. And I'm like, if you believed that she was saying those things sincerely all this time, you should have been running for the hills.
Yeah.
But Swan's making it out to be, like, this, like, titillating sort of, you know. And I'm just like, you guys are so... Like, I've never met 2 people before whose heterosexuality is such a terminal condition. Like, you guys are just heading straight for disaster because you're so stupid.
Yeah. And Gawain for most of this is off getting the horses, but you imagine he comes back and is like, so the vibes are a little weird. Not that I'm the most emotionally intelligent man in the world.
Yeah, like Gawain would ever notice anyone else's relationship. is so stupid.
You know. Anyway, he comes back with a bunch of fucking horses.
Yeah, he's like, Bella, and everyone's like, Bella, our favorite character.
Bella's like, yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, she's like, bitch, I survived.
Yeah, she's like, I'm a survivor.
Yeah, she just prances up.
Okay, the energy, the vibes are weird in here right now.
It's because we're all tired
We
here.
had to read about Egwene.
Yeah, he's so...
And I hate him.
Anyway, Swan's plan is to, like, go through this random gap in the defenses that one random Aes Sedai exploited to escape. So, there we are. So it's just the 3 of them going in. For now, I assume. I think they'll end up with some more soldiers, but stupid. Meanwhile, we flash back to Egg, who, finds a bunch of novices, and like you said, teaches them how to link in a circle until she herself has enough power to travel. She goes and gets a Sa'angreal, which is like the level, not quite the level, but pretty far up there in terms of power. It's not quite Rand's nuclear codes, but she's operating on a,
On a boost, a golden mushroom from Mario Kart.
For sure. And then we get the point of view of some random Aes Sedai, who it turns out is, like, the head of the Green Aja, like, that matters or means anything to us, who's, like, about to get captured by the Shanshin. It's a little torture porny.
Yeah.
When Egg, of course, comes to the rescue with her little army of novices and releases this woman, Adalorna, and Adalorna's like, okay, well, let's get organized. And Egg is like, excuse me, I have martial power currently, so do what I say. And Adalorna's like, yes, chef. And Egg begins to organizing. Egg is already organizing. Resistance. She also is kind of like, okay, I'm just showing people how to travel willy-nilly because it is no longer an effective secret weapon. I know that Elayne knows how to use it already, and literally as soon as the Shanshin capture anyone who Elayne has taught this weave to, then they're going to have it too, so...
Yeah, but she is also very committed to not letting the Shanshin get away with any Aes Sedai for several reasons, obviously. But she's like, I don't want the Shanshin to get traveling, so if we see anybody snatched up by the pterodactyls, it's...
Yeah, she's like, shoot down the pterodactyls, and Adalorna's like, what if they have captives? And Egg's like, they're better off dead. And I'm like, okay, that's a pretty, like, mercenary decision, considering that you guys are also going out of your way to, like, release the Daemon. Not saying that, like, one of those is the right decision and the other one is the wrong decision, but it's just like, her moral compass is going in circles a little bit here.
Yeah, which is pretty on par for the Wheel of Time. This scene also confused me a lot, because I guess I didn't realize that Tuon was sending Daemon. I thought she was literally just sending her little, like, Knight Riders.
Yeah, her little
so
blood knives.
I was like, what?
Yeah, they're channeling, I guess.
What?
They're collaring women.
What's happening? I thought Tuon wanted to kill them, not collar them, but why would Tuon kill someone when she could enslave them?
Exactly, yeah.
That's on me for non-girl bossing hard enough.
That was on you. You didn't predict Tuon's world domination plan well enough. God.
So
well,
anyway,
we have nothing else to talk about because this is stupid.
It'll just be Egg being like, girl power of the universe, I guess, I assume, for the rest of the book.
Yeah.
Egg being like, no one has ever been more powerful or more good at leading or politics or war than me, an 18-year-old girl. Wow, we didn't talk for very long this episode. Should we fill time? My favorite character, Tomas.
Yeah,
my least
inarguably.
Yeah.
The only good one. He wasn't even on screen.
On screen. And Verin's like, he's off with his family. I'm like, in his last hour. I'm like, did you poison Tomas too?
I know. Like, how did they coordinate that? Did they, like, set their watches?
Like in Lost, they shot up flares across the island. Yeah.
We're watching Lost.
We're watching Lost, so you might hear some Lost references.
Yeah.
So far, I would say I'm not, like, enjoying it, but it is, like, fun to have on in the background because it's So ridiculous.
Yeah, occasionally you'll be like, someone will just say some of the wackest shit, and you'll be like, what?
You'd be like, why? Literally, why is there a polar bear?
Yeah, you'll be like, oh, I feel like I missed that. Yeah, like when Michael was like, the polar bear? And Charlie was like, you didn't hear about the polar bear? And I was like, I feel like I didn't hear about the polar bear. Like, I was there for it.
The funniest line of dialogue of all time, delivered perfectly by the love of my life, Dominic Monaghan.
Well, it's okay that it's a short episode, I guess. I should have predicted that. That always happens with our, like, climactic sequences.
There's just, like, not a lot. Unless you want me to go blow by blow for the way that Egg moves through the White Tower.
Yeah, not very
a lot to
exciting. The next couple of chapters, we're going to get sort of the, like, Egg in the White Tower, you know, everyone going in to rescue her, and then we're going to switch to Rand, leaving Erin-Domon and going back to Tyr.
Swan does have a very funny line, though, when she's like, we better not die doing this gay one, because if we get to Egg, she's gonna want the right to kill us herself. And
I was like, at least you guys know.
Yeah.
She's gonna be pissed
off.
She's
gonna whoop your ass.
Yeah, jeez.
With her magic wand.
But then, like, why do it, you know?
Yeah.
I think I'd be too scared of Egg to
Yeah, I would be like, listen, she said don't, so...
She said don't, so I guess...
I'm listening.
She dies, she dies.
That was her choice.
That was her choice. And she won't go to her grave cursing me, because I followed orders.
Yeah.
You know? Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to this silly podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks... Glenna Mackenzie for our theme song. Thanks to our patrons on Patreon and our followers on social media.
Yeah, you guys are the best.
Yeah, do you have anything to add? A sign off?
Nothing to add, I don't think. As always, check out our Patreon if you're interested in that, or don't. Whatever feels right for you. And yeah, in terms of sign offs, my company had a party, like a summer... We have a fun and activities committee, which feels like a hate crime.
Fun and activities?
Literally what it's called.
Stupid.
And I know I'm, like, a cynical, antisocial asshole. I'm sure some people really love it, but every time they send out an email, I'm like, dear God, what's the next form of torture? Anyway, yesterday I went to basically, like, a big arcade that includes, like, laser tag and mini golf and stuff. And I did not go, in large part because I just, like, haven't been feeling well this week and didn't really want to, like, use my limited energy of the day to go, like, to an arcade.
Hang out with coworkers. Yeah.
And today I had a meeting where someone was like, Sally, I heard you were sick. I'm sorry you couldn't come. And I'm like, oh, yeah, what a bummer. And she's like, you could have joined our game of laser tag. There was, like, 30 of us playing laser tag. And I would, am a good professional liar and was like, that sounds so great. I haven't played laser tag in forever. I wish I could have been there. But in my head, I was like, why would I play laser tag with 30 of my coworkers? I just couldn't. Personally, I can't think of anything worse.
I don't even know 30 of my coworkers. I was in the office yesterday and was seeing people I'd never seen before. And I was like, huh?
Who are you?
Guess you work here. Oh, guys, don't play laser tag with your coworkers.
Yeah.
Play it with your friends.
Yeah.
Who are not your coworkers.
Laser tag scares me.
And that's weird. I have only played it for, like, my brother's birthday.
Yeah, we used to go a lot when I was younger.
I bet.
I don't like being in the dark and shooting at other people with lasers.
But yeah, it's sort of a...
Maybe I just lack
to find fun.
the niche interest for the lasers and the tagging.
I don't love lasers enough. That's my fatal flaw. Okay, everyone. Have a good week.
Bye. Bye.